Welcome to Daggers and Shadow Daddies.
We're your hosts, Ryan and Adriana.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
It turns out you're right. The answer was love. Do you feel like we need to reconsider reading the next book?
No. I want to keep reading the next book.
How did you handle listening to When It Was Love?
It's so ridiculous. I'm like, you have to be shitting me. But it did, I don't know. I'm going to give it a pass.
So in the end, you are good with the answer.
Yeah, I still think Feyre is remarkably dumb. But it's okay.
When she was like coming to terms with, she's like accepting her death, but she's like going through the clues. Each of the examples she gave in this chapter, not the full entire riddle, just in this chapter, when she's recalling it back, Amarantha fit the clues.
Ooh, read it. Let me hear it.
Through each of my strikes lays a powerful blow. When I kill, I do it slow. Amarantha.
Yep, give you that.
Then she also added, but when scorn, I become a difficult beast to defeat.
Oh,
Amarantha.
Yeah.
And then the last one, as she's solving it on her deathbed, she says, but I bless all those brave enough to dare. Amarantha.
So on that one, I think we're a little foggy.
I found it really brave of Feyre to dare and challenge Amarantha. And in the end, she was blessed by challenging her because everyone's freed.
Yeah, I feel like, though, if your whole idea was you'll be blessed if you dare to challenge me, means that Amarantha would be aware of it, she would lose.
True. She never really came to terms with that in the end.
No, I don't think it ever.
I just thought it was kind of entertaining as she's like being beaten and she like lists 3 of the parts of the riddle. I'm like, Amarantha fits all of these. You need to add more. So then it was more love based because...
Oh, I could not agree more. I think overall, I think you're 100% right. The particular points that they chose to read, the fact that those could be inserted with Amarantha in them instead of love.
Yeah, I'm kind of entertaining.
Really funny.
What did you think of Tamlin after he got stabbed? I just was kind of shocked that the stab wound didn't affect him more with it being ash.
Well, here's the thing that kills me, right? No pun intended. Is she's like, he's healing already. Like she can notice that he's healing and then she's like, he's healing too slowly. And I'm like, well, I mean, if he's healing already, like immediately noticeable upon you pulling that out of him,
yeah,
right, the blade out of him, then he's healing pretty quick, to be fair. She's like, but he's healing too slow. He can't do dick. Meanwhile,
he wasn't going to be able to anyways because the curse wasn't lifted.
But at least at least he tried. You know, he was giving her what for? I don't know. I give him that. And I liked that his explanation to it was like, hey, I just didn't want to go down in the annals of history as being somebody who did nothing. Yeah. Like I at least attempted, even if it was futile. And I thought that was all right. That was cool.
But overall, what did you think of like the ash? Like I thought that they couldn't touch the ash wood. They can.
Yep.
And it sounds like they can, or at least the high fae can withstand non-fatal wounds with an ash weapon.
Yeah.
But if it's a fatal wound with an ash weapon, then it's fatal to high fae. So like if you had a regular sword and stabbed through the heart, they would be able to recover. But if it was a stab to the heart with ash wood, then they don't survive.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got from it too. Was it seemed like it was more of a like a poisoning damage sort of thing with them. And I imagine that's why like his healing factor or whatever you call it was negatively impacted.
Healing factor.
Yeah.
-10.
He's Wolverine.
But yeah.
No, I'm 100% with you on that one. I think that was it was a good part, don't get me wrong, because it did build some stakes into what was happening. Because if he otherwise would have been able to heal quickly, you wouldn't have the moment where she's like, oh, I'm suffering and
thinking of how much she loves him in order to solve the riddle.
Yeah, okay.
Did you catch that she never did say she loved Tamlin out loud?
She did.
Not out loud.
She said, I love you before she stabbed him.
Did she?
Yeah, she, when she was looking at him, even before she stabbed any of them.
I thought it was in her head.
No. Her statement when she thought that the adder who was disguised as Tamlin, right, her statement to Tamlin while he was up there with Amarantha was like, I will always love you. I love you so much.
Oh.
You're the greatest ever.
Well, interesting. I'm really glad we got to talk about that because I was just like, she never said it.
No, yeah, she did. It just didn't sink in. It didn't matter.
And then when she's dead, technically, she's looking through Rieslin's eyes. Does he know this is happening?
That she can see through them?
Yeah. Does he know, like, do you think he feels her presence with him when she does this?
So I think what happened is he, like, grabbed onto her soul and, like, was holding on to it. It is kind of how this works in my head, right? Because she's dead for all intents and purposes through what she's seeing Tamlin do when he goes full beast mode. Because
he's holding on to her.
Yeah. So, okay, just to review this, she solves the riddle. Right?
Yeah.
As she says the words, Amarantha zooms up there, breaks her neck real quick. Right?
Oh.
That's what you got?
No, but...
What did you get?
No, you're right. Because, yeah, her head was turned in a unnatural way. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was just innocent.
Oh, yeah. No, I imagined Amarantha just went, pew, super speed, snapped her neck real quick. She hits the ground. Riesling grabs her soul so she can experience things through his eyes and his senses. And then immediately Tamlin's like, excuse me, motherfucker. She solved that riddle. And now the curse is broken. So he is power incarnate, right?
Yeah.
He's glowing and he full on just like a flash.
Scene. It just like slides.
Well, and I like that she was like, he transformed faster than I could see. So we didn't have to go through the rigmarole of like, this is what the transformation looked like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't give a shit about that. It was just like, he turns into the goat and he fucking gets up there. We got her pinned up against the wall. His buddy throws him a sword. He stabs her through the head, which also I think is a wild visual. Being stabbed through a skull is a weird
And he still ripped her throat out afterwards.
Yeah, which maybe is necessary. But also, I'm like, he just threw a sword. Why not like one of those ash daggers? I think like, okay, and this is where...
It was an ash weapon that he used to stab in her face.
Was it?
I think so.
Okay. See, and I thought it was just a gleaming sword.
Oh, well, you're probably listening way better. You've got way more than me so
I could be totally wrong. What really gets me, though, is like, honestly, if you want to make sure this person is dead, too, I'm crucifying this bitch up there with some of those ash daggers.
Like a Viking funeral. We're going to burn her afterwards.
Yeah, and honestly, like I said, it's ash like through every spot I can get it in. Like, that's it. This woman is going to be an ash tree when I'm finished.
We're going to then grow an ash tree with her remains.
Yeah, and then we're going to send those leftovers to the King of Hybrid and be like, bring it over, dude. We're here.
And when they're doing the little... tier, whatever the little...
Yes, the Tears of the Kingdom.
The Tears of the Kingdom, yeah.
Yeah, where each one of the High Lords is like, here, take a little spirit tear.
Yes.
And all of them combined makes her a super fae.
Yes. Did you catch that Riorson says to Tamlin, consider us even?
Yeah.
What do you think that's about?
I don't know. And that's why I want to read the next book.
And
I'm curious.
Thought when I first heard it, it was almost like I will protect her so then you could do that. Like there was some type of agreement, but she still has, at the end of the book, she still has to do her part for being saved. And so it's not in reference to that deal. It is something purely between him and Tamlin, and now they are even.
So that's an interesting take because I took it as him saying it to her and not to Tamlin.
I think that it had to do with Tamlin.
That's fair. Because my assumption was that he said it to her like, okay, I know I put you through a bunch of shit. Now here's your life back.
But
yeah,
I don't think so. She still has the thing on her hand. She still has all of that at the end. And she is going to be seeing him.
I also thought this was an easy out to their whole deal where she's like, for the rest of my life. And it was like, well, that was the end of that life. Now you got a different life. Like, I think that would have been an easy out to the whole 25% of my life belongs to this dude thing.
I think right before he says, consider us even, he was giving, I'm just going to call it Tears of the Kingdom, giving a tear of the kingdom to Tamlin because of what she did for that. But like he can have this for what she did.
Which makes sense.
And now him they're even. Yeah, I didn't really think that
I buy where you're going with it.
something to do
I'm
with
down.
But I was also incredibly wrong about Alice. So
I'm glad that you have 4 million apologies.
yes.
She did nothing.
She
No.
did nothing but be kind.
Did you
Like,
have
a
this thought,
happy,
though?
loving ending
Well,
to her and her nephews.
but did you have this thought, too, though? Like, so all of the people who were in the court who happened to escape, it probably wasn't just Alice, right? So you get a bunch of masked people
Yeah.
roaming the kingdom.
Yeah.
First of all, you're not hiding. You're wearing a big gold mask,
Mhm.
right? Second of all, you're just out there minding your business, hiking through the hills with your nephews, and your fucking mask falls off. You'd be like, God damn, good job, Feyre. There had to be a moment where she was like, that bitch did it. Like, if this was a Die Hard movie, I would just love that moment. Son of a bitch.
Just walking away from it like an explosion in the background.
Yeah. Or like a Charlotte's Web moment, like some pig. They just keep moving. Because I think of humans as like pig people.
So
I think it would be really fun. There's opportunities in this for comedy.
well, and then afterwards she's like waking up and she's a high fae now.
Her hands are bigger.
Longer. She's, I think, taller. It reminded me of like the little avatars, the blue avatar, where they're just like all lanky and she's got to learn how to walk.
Honestly, I love that you're baby birding it right through this. And instead, in my brain, it was like that. What's that movie where like the person's asleep and they like wake up later, like they were in some sort of a coma, and they're like grown. You don't know what I'm talking about?
But that's again back to Avatar because they just.
I think your thing is so much better because mine was just like, oh, if like a 10-year-old was in a coma until they were 22, you'd be like, they woke up, they're like, my limbs are longer, I'm stronger, faster, and you're like, oh, okay, all right, $6 million.
What is the connectivity tissue disorder name?
Ehlers-Danlos?
Yeah, she just wakes up with Ehlers-Danlos now.
Well, she had. Oh no, that was the other lady. No,
Yeah, she had it, but now you have this like, I'm like, oh.
First of all, is this just because I'm tall and afflicted that you're like every tall person has this?
There's signs.
There will be signs.
And how did Amarantha get the powers of Tamlin again? I do not remember how this happened.
She took their hearts.
Yeah, but I mean, like, how were they like if he's this
Acceptable.
powerful?
They started trusting her, and then she was like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll take care of you, little birdie." Like the TikTok thing. Little birdie, I'll take care of you. And then she like just grabbed his fucking heart. She's like, it's rocks now.
Or was it like a drink the Kool-Aid type of thing? I can't remember this.
You think she formed a cult and they?
I think that they.
Okay.
I thought it was some type of magic potion thing.
What was that guy's name?
Who's the guy?
The Kool-Aid guy.
Oh goodness, the cult.
Yeah, what was his name again?
I don't
Starts with a
remember.
J or something. Doesn't matter.
I don't remember.
Anyway, yeah, petition to change her name to that. That would be really funny. I'm a little bummed that she's still.
Realized that I just listened to books with heart and feeling and no memory of anything. I'm like, she took their powers, and I'm like, I don't know the details of how, but I remember what I was feeling when I was reading this.
I love that because instead I'm like, she took their powers, and I'm like, I don't care why she took it. Like, I know, I want to know why she did it, not so much how she did it. And how they're going to get them back matters because the past is the past. We're moving forward from here.
Well, I was kind of also wondering, where does the stone stop? Like, I was picturing an actual stone heart. Is it like encapsulated like a geode? A big old rock? That's what I was
Honestly,
picturing, was a geode.
Oh, that's so much cooler. Yeah, what I imagined was she literally just like replaced it with a rock. Just a
Yeah.
pop in, pop out, like a transplant.
I think for logic for me to move past this, it's, well, like, it doesn't even matter because I'm assuming, is the stone gone now?
I believe it was replaced again with his heart now. The curse was broken. But maybe she just converted the heart tissue. Maybe it was more of a like an alchemy thing.
Yeah, that's, I think,
She
what it was.
converted the heart into a rock. What's really wild is he bleeds.
Sarah J. Maas, we need these details.
Yeah, also, so he bleeds. What's pumping it? Is his heart able to pump?
Yeah, that's where I was kind of like stuck. I'm like, this is so stupid. I must be so tired to be focused on these little details. So like, what would it be like to have a heart of stone?
Really, out of all the fantasy shit in here, you're like, I don't believe it. I refuse to believe that anybody could have a heart of stone.
In chapter 46, we find out he likes to bite. He bit her again.
Honestly, I like to think of him as personality-wise like one of your cats. Where it's like, you pet them for a while, they really like it, and then they bite you. They don't necessarily want you to stop. They just kind of feel overwhelmed and need to do it.
I was also surprised that during their spicy time, that she didn't talk about what it was like with her new body.
Oh my God.
I thought she would experience more or heightened
smells.
Yeah,
It's like,
none of that.
wash your balls, Tam. That's smelling from here. Jesus Christ.
It sounded like sex was about the same.
Okay, so
Her old body and new body.
what's really funny is I must have listened to that at the same time you did, and I don't even remember there being a scene.
It's a very short one.
Good.
Because they do it
Quickly.
Yeah, he
They're
bites
tired.
her again.
They're just tired. He's like, I really want to get this. She's like, it's got to be quick because I'm very tired.
Well, right before they get into it, she's looking at Tamlin and she's having this is, it's all worth it in the end moment of killing those two people, looking at Tamlin and getting to be with him or something to this effect. And then she does it. I'm like, so it was worth it in the end that you got to bang him? Like, this is so sad.
But it wasn't a cool banging either. It was
It
like,
wasn't even a good one.
you're like, oh man, she just really needed to get off. But you were right. In last episode, you're like, she really needs to get laid.
Yeah.
Evidently, that was the thing the whole time.
It's what it was worth it in the end. I got laid.
Which, yeah.
But so she's sleeping and she feels like that tug to go see Riorson. So she gets laid, falls asleep, sneaks out of bed to go see him. And I'm like,
Reasons like, give me them sloppy seconds. It's like, like when you eat dinner and you're like, I'm full, and you put it in the fridge, and then at like 10 o'clock at night, you're like, that was really good. I should have some more of that. I imagine that's kind of what it is, where she was like, I had sex already, and then she put it in the fridge, and then Reason's like, just to ease the food, calling out to her, like, you could have a little snack.
well, that's like, I have this one little note. She sounded thirsty again, thinking of how he fought for her, how Riorson fought for
I
her.
think that's more valid, to be fair.
She's like, ugh.
It's like, this new elf clit.
Yeah.
Well, I think the new elf clit is also just way hungrier.
She's just not aware her new body is even thirstier, ready for book 2.
They need to be really concerned about what she's wearing. And like a breeze comes by and she's like, I love this willow tree. Stop climbing the tree, Feyre. Please, chill. And then she goes back to the castle and they're like, where's Feyre? He's like, whatever you do, don't go in her painting room. She's not painting anymore, but she's developed some new hobbies.
This is reasonable. This is what we expect when you get a new Fey body.
Honestly, I guess if I had like a sweet Fey body and then it was like,
A sweet Fey body.
yeah, like I got like this awesome rock and bob, right? It's like, I don't even know what I would change. Now that I'm thinking about it. Like if I was a Fey person, what would I want to change? I think I want wings.
Yeah, what would be your beast form?
Oh, I don't want to turn into an animal.
You have to pick one.
No, they don't. Do they have to?
I'm assuming so.
I think I'm magic. I
That's
can
how they
decide not
protect their
to.
kingdoms.
Well, okay, other people will be fighters. I will just be like,
I'll just be the handsome man that tells people what to do.
yeah, who's that? I've transformed. They're like, I didn't see anything. They're like, I have a donkey's penis.
It's not going that direction. It's gonna-
Power of a whale dong. And then I just like high five somebody. That's this crazy penis.
I was gonna go with going from 6 abs to 8.
Dude, honestly,
You're just over there like the real powers are below.
yeah, like I don't know that I would want to be just yoked. Like I probably would. Yeah, I guess. I think I just turned into Alan Riorson.
Oh yeah.
Well, okay, chill out.
Well, so
Get out of here. Hold on.
Thursday or Friday, I don't remember what day.
It was Friday.
I'm telling my coworker about him and Henry Cavill, and she's like, "Who are these people?" I'm like, "Girl, we're gonna spend some time Googling," and I use the work computer to look up these guys.
It's a good thing that you are tech support, because otherwise you guys deserve to be given a talking to.
Well, I just was joking around. I was like, if this gets put on like some big screen and just like things not to Google at work, I really hope this is what gets put up there, because I think this is welcome to my TED Talk, boys. We're going to talk about these men.
Well, so what really cracks me up is, so you called me to get the name, right? Alan
Something.
Riorson.
No. I called you about the name of the movie that we really love with Henry Cavill.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, well, that's every movie with Henry Cavill you
And
really love.
the answer to this is Man from U.N.C.L.E. I told her she had to watch this movie.
Well, okay. So, but the way this conversation ends with you is you're like, my finish is being made to feel like I'm small. And I'm like, okay, I'm a pretty big guy, but I'm not like an enormous dude. Like, I'm a tall man, not an enormous man.
Well, I don't find Alan Riorson, is that it?
I think it's Riorson or Richardson. I'm not sure.
I think it's Riorson. I don't find him like overly
Are you
attractive.
shitting me? He's the best looking man alive.
I think I find how big he is attractive, but I'm not even into big muscles. It's just feeling tiny.
Okay, listen, that dude is almost as tall as I am.
Yeah.
But he is a mountain of a human.
Yeah.
Like, okay, think of it this way. Would you consider me a big man?
Tall man. Yeah.
Tall.
Yeah.
No, that's my point. But that doesn't make you feel small. It just makes you feel short.
Does. Yeah. No, I get feeling tiny with you. So you have big hands too.
But no, I'm just saying, like, overall, Alan Rickerson is just a huge dude overall. Yeah. And it is the muscles. Yeah. Like, if I had his, like, that's what I would do. I'm transforming into a fae.
You're just going to be Alan Rickerson.
Yeah, I just want his frame. He's a huge dude.
Well, and all this started also because I saved a TikTok that is about this book of who people picture as these characters, as Tamlin, as Recent, as so-and-so. Well, and I got some, I think, clues of other people in the upcoming series, but they just copy and pasted Henry Cavill's face onto all of them. I'm like, yes. And Henry Cavill, I think, is the best fit for Recent at this point.
Yeah, I think that you have to think that.
Oh. Well, when he's like having his heart-to-heart with Feyre, and he's just like, yeah, of course I'm Amarantha's whore. Like, look at my face. Like, that's such a, like...
Well, she's like, why would she make you do that? And he's like, besides the obvious.
Besides the handsome features.
Yeah, no, I think I get where you're coming from. I think no matter what, you're just going to envision every handsome, dark person as Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill with blonde hair.
No.
I see Tamlin with your hair, though. When you have your hair freshly washed, blow-dried down, that is Tamlin hair.
First of all, that...
Not personality, because I think some things are coming up in the future.
Yeah, okay. No, that's perfect.
Overall, I picture Tamlin with your hair.
Oh, that's nice, I think. I'll be the one that everybody was really bummed out about in the beginning. They're like, oh, this can't be our guy. You're like, that could be you.
I picture you as Tamlin.
Yeah, you fucking idiot.
Then Recent also asked her, how does it feel to be high fae? And it kind of just went nowhere. She's like, I still have the heart of a human. I thought it was more I don't know.
No, I agree. I don't think it was a question that I really thought we were going to get much out of, because also, how does it feel to be high fae? Like, I guess yeah, it's pretty sensitive. Be careful. It's breezy here. No, I think her whole thing of like, I still have the heart of a human is meant to be like, I don't think of myself as high fae. It would be like, how does it feel to be a year older on your birthday? And you're like, I don't feel older than yesterday. It happened gradually. This was, I guess, a quick change. So
if she answers, this body is different, but this is still human, referencing her heart. And again, I was just like, you didn't say anything about your body being different. Well, do
you think that she referenced her heart and he was just looking at it, he's like, now you got fae titties? He was just super stoked.
No.
Oh, well, me neither. That'd be weird.
He said to be glad, but then went rigid and shocked.
Wait, what?
Do you remember this? After he asked that question, she answers it. And he was saying, be glad that you still have a human heart, essentially.
Yeah.
But then he was shocked and rigid.
I think that they have, my guess is there's going to be like some sort of love system where it's like, when you meet the one, it's like a lightning bolt. It's a tip of your penis. Yeah, okay, just what you said. Yeah, that's what ducks do. And lightning hits the tip of their penis.
I almost wonder if she's referenced auras. Like, she can see like the aura of magic around her when she went back home.
And he sees hers, and it's dark like his.
I wondered that, or if he saw, like, if she gets a beast form, if he was scared, if he saw just a glimpse of what her beast side is going to be, what she'll turn into. And I think maybe he was scared. I don't know if she'll turn into anything, but if she does, I wondered if that was it. He saw a glimpse into that.
So I'm going to take a hard left turn for a second, just because something occurred to me and I don't have it written down.
Mm-hmm.
I've misspoke so many times about this book and what this book is to you. Right, where I'm like, oh, it's like porn, blah, 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 emotion porn, blah, blah, blah. It's not. Really what these books are is emotional foreplay for you, right? Like, it gets you, it's not so much like it's pornography in the sense of you're like, I need to start, paddling the pink canoe right now. There's like this emotional tethering. You get this closeness to what's going on. And I think I have that with this book right now. Is what I'm bringing up.
Tethering.
Not like emotional, not like in the sense of like I'm heavily invested. More so in the idea of like, I feel like everything's going to circle right back around to sexy time. It all ends up there, and that's where Riesland. That's why I'm sure he looked at her, and it was like a mating bond thing.
Keep putting an L in his name. There isn't an L.
I don't spell it. I don't write it out. It's recent,
Recent.
like sand.
Yeah.
S-A-N-D. Can you spell it for me?
Yeah, I have it written down.
R.
It is somewhere.
Does it start with an R at least? Please
Yes,
tell
it
me
does
starts
start with an R. It's like, oh, here. R-Y-H-S-A-N.
Recent.
Recent.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I've been saying it wrong only
You're
for
like,
46
recently.
chapters.
We only recently met him.
Yeah, that's probably true. But no, I would say really what's happened is this book has primed me up. I'm like, everything is going to happen for banging purposes. And I'm not interested in getting to that part of the book. I'm more interested in how they're going to end up there.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the aura, if he was reading any kind of aura, he got really stiff because she was super horned up.
I don't think so.
Moral of the story, the book makes you horny.
Oh, what? No, not really.
Kind of. No, not like a general sense of horniness. Like you get a horniness just through these books. Your brain has been more on sex since we started reading these books than it has been in like 2 or 3 years. Easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like like a sexy emotional primer kind of. It's not like you're not just like horned up.
Primer is a good word.
Okay.
Like with the psychological aspect, it's
Yeah.
priming. The listening to somebody else be attracted to someone and thirsty and all that, it's a primer.
It's not me just constantly sending you text messages. I'm like, nice. Thinking of you.
Beeves.
Send views. I'll do it.
Well, I was going to take this a different...
No, I told you it was a hard left. Anyway, so book makes you think of sexy time more, makes me think of sexy time more, and so
and
therefore...
more even.
Well, okay, you're right.
There.
You're probably correct, actually. It hasn't affected me at all, but I appreciate that you're with me now in that journey. So
Well,
I highly
we
suggest...
started talking about Amarantha being dead and the bone and eye, her ring missing.
All right.
The
We're
bone
talking about the
missing.
bone missing in Amarantha. No, okay. So, side note though, I just want to suggest this is a good book for your significant others to read together.
Yeah.
All of these books so
Yeah.
far. Well, I think they're more funny for me, not quite the same thing you do. I think of the experience as I was super positive.
Yeah, this is a form of intimacy, I think, reading the books together.
To me, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We were at Sam's Club and that guy, he sees Iron Flame. He's like, is this the second book? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I just got these for my girlfriend. And you immediately were just, you should read these with her.
Yeah, I stand by that. I think this has been one of the best experiences that, I mean, like, we've had a lot of good stuff,
Yeah.
but I am thoroughly enjoying this with you.
Yeah. And now this poor man, because he's the guy that was always checking your receipts as you leave.
Yeah.
When we go back, I think I'm going to give it a few weeks and we're going to check on him and be like, sir,
Oh, I see
you
him.
remember me? Yeah.
He knows
Well,
us.
we need to give him some time to try to read it with her.
Well, I think
We
he's
go to Sam's Club way too often.
not Favra. He could read those books in not that much time, okay? He's fine.
But no, I want to embarrass him by saying like, hey, sir, do you remember when you bought those smut books for your girlfriend and you told us? Have you started reading them with her?
Yeah, honestly,
Keep him on his toes.
I think instead what I'll do, I'll just give him a line that, not recent. What's the other guy's name now? Xaden.
Xaden.
Yeah, I'll just, my favorite Xaden line, I'm just going to say it to him.
That's...
And then,
Unless your favorite Xaden line is different than mine.
no, mine's going to be very sexually charged. And we'll be able to
Something
tell.
about the throne scene.
Yeah, and I'll just be like, sir, get on that throne. Like, no, okay, I'll figure out a line and I'll say it to him. And then if he responds like he knows what I'm talking about, we'll know he read it. If he doesn't respond like he knows what we're talking about, I'll be like, you son of a bitch.
Well, they need to start on Fourth Wing first.
Or Ryzen, what's his name?
Reason.
No,
And Xaden.
Xaden's the guy I was thinking of. God damn.
Fighting for your life with these names.
I can't handle it. And they always end with a D.
Yeah. The D.
Hold on, Xaden ends with an N. It has a D in it.
Yeah.
Alphabet's hard. Maybe I'm the
Reading
favorite.
is hard.
Maybe I'm the favorite. That's so weird.
All right. Third and final time, I am going to switch this up
Please
and go to
help me.
the bone and eye were missing.
Okay. You keep saying you're switching it. That's not what's happening.
What are your thoughts on where those went?
I can give you a hint as to where the bone went. So I didn't know that they
I'm
were missing.
picturing it being smuggled out that way.
Yeah, so
Gross.
I'm gonna guess the what's that bad guy called?
The adder.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess either the adder took them or recent took them. Not for the reasons you think. I think he would just like put them in a box and ship them back to the king of... I'm really in this mafioso type thing where I'm like, I would ship this shit right back to the king of Hybern and be like, you're next, motherfucker.
That makes me think
Plan for it.
The Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, that it came back on the show where he takes Medusa, chops her head, and he mails it back to the gods.
Yeah, which I think is a really cool move.
And he's like, what, they're mad at me? What, now they want to start a war with me?
See,
same idea if Riorson were to send the bone and eye.
I'm thinking of like more like the head, the horse's head in your bed type of thing. But still, it's either way. I think that hopefully even the series of books takes us up through, we're going to go murder the king of Hybern.
Yeah, that's definitely coming.
And I don't know what sort of superpowers he's got, but clearly he's really badass too.
Badass to not be scared of Amarantha when she was at her strongest.
Yeah. But then also I'm like, but now we got this super fae created by the 7 fae of the other places, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Tears of the Kingdom. Turn her into some sort of super fae, right? So now I think they train her up. She figures out magic. And when she transforms, I don't know what she's going to transform into. What do you think she's going to be?
No clue. I was assuming it was scary.
Oh, me too. Like a vibrator with wings. That would be terrifying. Imagine you're just walking around and it's like World War II era. Like,
I'm gonna get back on track. The next part, how did Feyre, understand a small part of what drove Amarantha?
Don't know what we're talking about. I need you to make it more clear to me. My brain's clear.
Amarantha's dead. Feyre is getting ready to leave. And she's thinking to herself, as I think they're headed to the spring court, she's thinking of, I, in a small part, understand what Amarantha's drive was.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it's thinking of her sister.
It's
like
love.
You would do anything for your sisters.
And then the revenge. Think of what she was willing to go through for Tamlin as a revenge thing. Yeah, I think her acknowledging that she can empathize with that was really cool.
What if this whole book is actually just about sisterly love? Like,
and then they bring Nesta back into it. She's a muscle
She does
mommy,
come back.
not a muscle mommy. I was thinking of names. I'm really trying to come up with a term for Shadow Daddy for bitchy women.
Mystery mommy?
No, I don't like that one. That sounds like a Scooby-Doo thing. This is Velma's my
mystery mommy. You're into Velma.
I do like Velma. Yeah, no, what was it? Not a masochistic mommy.
Oh, God. I don't remember. You were coming up with all kinds of names for her. Like, essentially, Shadow Daddy, but for women.
Yeah. But I like them when they're mean.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So, malicious. Malicious mommy.
Yeah.
And, okay, anyway, point is sisterly love. We could bring Nesta back into it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they can't get it on because they're sisters, and I don't like that part. I don't like where you're...
No, that's not what I was referencing. I was just like the overall...
I told you, my brain's not there right now. I don't know what to do with myself.
I was kind of going more for like how Frozen wasn't your typical love story that Disney always does. It was actually about sisters.
Yeah, no, you're right. The damsel in distress wasn't saved by Prince Charming. It was saved by another damsel.
This series is actually just about sisters.
I would love if this was just a horny Frozen. That would be really funny to me. Which one is Sven?
Do you like Frozen, but adult themed?
Okay, or maybe not. You're right. That made it sound worse.
Rule 34.
As long as Nesta's our ice queen.
She would be.
No, I hope that we need more Nesta.
I think we do. A little later.
We get more Nesta? Is that what you're saying? Okay, good.
And I think the third book even has a POV of Nesta.
I don't know what that... Oh, okay. It's from her perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know if it's much, but something.
Well, I'll take what I can get.
And the last part of the book, they show up to the kingdom. Alice and her nephews are there. They're running. Do you remember at the beginning when she was near this tree and she felt like she was being watched, like whimsical?
Yeah, like a fairy tree. Oh, they're all called fairies.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Do you think that's maybe where the nephews were hiding? Who's over by that tree?
Like they were transformed into squirrels?
I don't know.
So now that's where I'm at. Now it's a Disney movie.
Can children transform?
Well, they're 75 years old, so they're basically adults now.
No.
They're 50, so they're teenagers, I think is roughly how it worked out.
Up.
No, I seem to remember she was kind of giving us the idea as to how they age.
Oh.
And she's like, they're not even adults until they're 75. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. So yeah, no, I think that you could be totally right. Maybe the nephews were what was watching her. I honestly pictured it more as Riesland had something there where he was keeping
Reeson.
whatever. I'm never gonna get it right.
Just call him Reese. That's even better than Reese Lynn.
Okay, all right. Listen, somebody whose
How
last name has
embarrassing
been
if
thrown
I was the one who was wrong this whole time.
There's no way.
Reeson
You are
versus
far too good at this.
Reese.
You're not wrong. In my notes, it's just as it looks like Feyre wrote my notes. Like it's just a random assortment of letters that mean something to me.
But overall, we finished the book.
We did.
What would you rate it?
Okay, if this is hard because I would say I enjoyed 75% of this book.
Okay.
I would, you know what? I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. If you want a 10 scale, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you like the 10 scale. I'm going to go 7.5, but I will say that if there were just a few things shortened, like her struggling to take the deal or not take the deal with Reeson, I think this could have been an 8 for me. And if Reeson didn't, roofie her, I think that
I
made
can
it
see where
8.
some parts could be shorter. Like, after she heard the adder and this mysterious creature thing talking, she goes back to her cell and she talks about this experience, hearing music. In the end, that came to be nothing other than, I'm assuming maybe it was just Tamlin playing music.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I appreciate the world building aspects, but there are times where she's so contemplative that I don't need that. I can respect that she had to think about it, and I appreciate the show don't tell, but there are moments where you can just tell.
Yeah. Here, I have some questions that are more about the general book that I kind of want to do at the end of every book to have a general idea of
Let's do it. Kind of an overview.
Yeah, and to be able to compare the books to each other.
I like it.
How did the author create the fantasy world in the book? Did they provide any maps, glossaries? I don't think this had any of them. We wouldn't know. We got an audiobook with that.
Yeah.
So how...
I assume there was a map because we were able to Google it.
Oh, yeah. There is a map.
So I assume there was, but I didn't find it necessary.
The map was so simple, I only really needed to see it once, and I moved on.
Yeah, and she described it well enough, I think.
How do you think that she did with creating the fantasy world?
I think she did a great job because she was able to root the human section into not a contemporaneous world, but a world that is similar to ours, just not the same timeline. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay. I see. Like, because I saw it as like a really almost medieval suffering and challenges and survival.
I would agree. And then I think the world of the Fae being such a stark contrast to that, at least in the Spring Court, I think they did a really good job of both rooting it in something that I could live in and kind of get used to, and then transforming it into something that I could imagine.
Well, yeah, when Feyre first shows up, she's looking at everything and how everything could provide for her family. Just one piece of fabric here, one plate could, take care of her family.
The beauty of it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think she did a great job. I can envision where she was.
What did you think of the characters' powers and abilities? Like, I think we really want to hear about Tamlin's.
I don't like the Transformer shit. I won't lie to you.
Oh.
Like, the Beetleborg aspect of this is not for me.
But they go back and forth.
But yeah, I think if your whole thing is like, oh, you transform and now this form provides you some power, I don't see the necessity of this.
But how can you be a handsome Fae and powerful?
I feel like Superman solved that. I feel like we're remaking the wheel a little bit with that one.
How do you think the author presented the magic system in the book?
Oh, very vague, actually. I would say she did, but I think it was necessarily vague.
Yeah, because I didn't really remember even how Amarantha got their powers again. So I would say that it wasn't very concrete and clear of other points in the book of how magic is working for me to remember.
But I think the ambiguity of the magic works because we're learning about it as she is. And I think that's really
true.
nice.
Yeah, that I do like that. So coming at it with that approach, we only know as much as Feyre knows, and Feyre does not know much about the magic yet.
And she's not, the author hasn't painted herself into a corner as to these are my limits, which I also like because otherwise you have to have a protagonist that goes beyond those limits. And I think that's always tired.
How did the author explore themes such as heroism, destiny, loyalty, morality?
Oh, man, this is a tough one.
Yeah.
I think they did a lot of exploration of it. Mm-hmm. And I think just like in reality, it wasn't super consistent, if that makes sense. Like morality for what you want to do makes total sense, right? And I'm really hung up on the morality aspect. The destiny aspect.
I wanted to go into the destiny. I felt like
I figured that would be your area of this.
Yeah.
Give me how you feel about the destiny, and then we'll get into the morality.
In the end of the book, I didn't really think it fell into prophecy, but really fell into destiny, which I like that better. That Feyre, it wasn't that there was a prophecy necessarily. It was more Amarantha has an ego, and she fell because of her ego of creating these ridiculous challenges, which then played into Feyre's destiny.
So the way that I think of this as far as destiny is, if we remove one element, does Feyre still succeed? Right? Like a basic element. Remove Riorson from it. Does Feyre succeed?
No.
No, she dies, right? I think that there's these few things there where you could say, like, I think it leaned heavily into destiny. It wasn't my favorite because I feel like a lot of this was her perseverance, and I would say it was 70% perseverance on Feyre's part, 30% luck and influence from other things.
But it's also nice that she wasn't invincible.
But but her plot armor did make her invincible. Like, she died and was literally brought back to life.
Yeah, because we're in a magic. This is fantasy part.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying is invincibility-wise, there was never a concern that this was the end of Feyre ever in this book. You knew she was going to make it. And my question was always, through what means would she progress?
Yeah.
And I think that, again, at least 70 or 80% of the time, it was really satisfying. And I think the other 20% of the time, it wasn't very satisfying for me.
And I don't have much experience with reading many fantasy books, so a lot of the solutions to these problems are still kind of new to me.
I would agree.
And I like that.
I'm kind of with you on that. The only real fantasy stuff I ever read was old, Call of Cthulhu type shit. And then the writing and the verbiage in that would take you out of it. I think this was better.
Yeah. I went through several of the Terry Pratchett books, and this was just much different as far as how the solutions went compared to Terry Pratchett, and I still really enjoyed that.
Yeah, now stumbling into solutions. Now the morality is what I want to touch on.
Okay.
So when it comes to morality in general, this book really starts off on that foot of justification of murder of what might be a fae, or even the murder of an animal, right?
Great point. Just thinking of her dilemma with murdering. She feels like a completely different person by the end of the book because she murdered those people.
We experienced a lot of growth from her character. And change is maybe a better word than growth, because I don't know that it's an improvement. It's
a shift.
A difference. Yeah. So I think that she did a really good job overall of the morality of things. I do think we had a bit of a trolley experiment with kill these three to save this one guy / his kingdom. And I think the whole idea behind that is really neat because there isn't a right or wrong answer, right?
Yeah.
Like, technically speaking, you do what benefits the many. At the same time, it was all heavily weighted because that also happened to be the selfish decision for her.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, this will save the kingdom and the guy who I'm actually here to save.
Yeah.
The fact that those two deaths that she causes ended up being completely worthless. I wonder in the next book how much she's going to struggle with that.
Yeah.
Because they were unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, I think that.
Because she solved it. Yeah, the riddle.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
Good. It was love the whole time and I didn't get it.
Yeah, this bitch, you only know 12 words. Plug one in. Like, just try it and see what you feel.
Do you think that the romance was believable?
No. I can see it, to be fair. I think if an incredibly wealthy dude is like, Adri, you have to come live with me. And you're like, fine, Bezos, I'll come live with you. And then he has like glowing, flowing locks. And then he feeds you whatever you want to eat all the time and lets you just enjoy your hobbies and puts you in fancy clothes. I can see where Stockholm Syndrome's a real thing.
And I think that's where I found the romance believable in the aspect of she would fall for him in this. I wasn't falling for Tamlin, but I could believe that Feyre would.
I can see where I would.
And I could.
If I'm in her situation, a magic man shows up and he just lets me do whatever I want, gives me a sweet place to live, and I don't have somebody else whom I'm very attached to. That's the other thing. Tamlin didn't take her from anything other than her family, but he also provided for them. So I can see where it could happen. I think he and Feyre's romantic arc, which has to happen in the next book, I'm sure. will be less believable to me, but more entertaining. And I think that's kind of where I land with it.
What did you think of the main conflict that kept the couple apart?
Man.
And it's so funny how this is such a spot-on generic question.
To be fair, I'm on board with it. Yeah, but I'm on board with it. I think that I'm disappointed in that Amarantha died in the end, rather than just being defeated so as to come back and have another attempt at being the big bad. Like, I think she maybe possibly will, in some sense, come back.
Because said she didn't know what happened to the body. She just believed that they took care of it.
Yeah, well, and I imagine almost everybody there had a pretty vested interest in taking care of it. But I think that it wrapped up a little quickly. Her interactions with her were entertaining, but brief.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they could have done more with Amarantha as a character.
Yeah, I kind of found it entertaining. When I was retelling the story to my coworkers, it was really fun just pretending to be like this mean bitch who's just got her hand on Tamlin's thigh and just be like, you peasant, do these challenges for my entertainment.
I don't see where there was any acting at all. It probably made your coworkers a little uncomfortable.
Yes.
You know, especially when you grabbed her by the leg.
Oh, no, I wasn't using
There's no acting. I don't.
But it was even better when the intern is in the other room, just like, these headphones can't turn up any louder.
Yeah, honestly.
I don't want to hear about this book.
It's going to be wild if you guys end up fired because the intern eventually is like, I'm just trying to learn what's going on and now I know the plot to this book. Also, he's like, why do I know who Alan Rickerson is? It's really weird.
He's just over there just like, what are they talking about?
Pretty soon he's like, God damn, we can Google anything. It was crazy. All right, go ahead.
How do you think the author balanced romance with other elements such as humor, suspense, drama, and social commentary?
Didn't. I don't think there was.
There was no humor in this book.
Well, there was. Recent had a few moments.
Which ones?
The whole like, why does she keep you around? He's like, besides the obvious. Like, look at me, bitch.
Yeah.
And then who's his right-hand man? Tamlin's right-hand man?
Lucian.
Lucian had a couple moments when they were at the table.
Yeah.
But it wasn't
in comparison to Fourth Wing and Iron Flame.
I would not say it's a funny book. They need a Riddick in this book.
Yeah.
I would agree. They need a comic relief character and they just didn't have one. But that's okay. I would say. I agree. But I wouldn't say that it balanced romance and plot. I would say all of the plot directed you toward the romance.
All right. The last question.
Right.
I'm excited for your answer. How did you like the level of heat in this book?
I'll let you answer this first.
There wasn't much heat.
Yeah, I would say this is like a mild jalapeno. And even then, that might be a little gracious. I think, are you familiar with Crystal, the hot sauce? It's not really hot, but it makes you think that it could be. Like, it smells like it could be hot. But then you try it and you're like, oh, this is like vinegar water. It's sort of unpleasant.
This book specifically, significantly less spicy than Iron Flame or Fourth Wing.
Which I think I appreciated a bit, but the problem with it to me isn't the fact that it was less spicy. It was the spice that's in here acts like it is just going to turn it up on you.
But that's kind of where I wasn't falling for Tamlin, because even like, I just felt like Feyre's sex was meh with Isaac and it was better with Tamlin. But I'm assuming that it's going to be even better. So there's like going to be degrees of heat based off of Feyre's connection.
Yeah, I agree. I think so far it's a book that was made to prime us for more.
The next love interest.
Yeah, I feel like this was sort of an introduction where it gave us this, oh, she clearly cares about this and she's horny all the time.
Yeah.
But it's not merited. It's teenager horniness.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I'm just old. Like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, bitch, you have so many other things to do and think about. Like, get educated, learn to read, and then learn to fuck. Like, you can eat both, but put some energy into this other thing too. And also quit talking about painting. I appreciate that she's an artist, but I feel like they're hitting us over the head with, I could never hope to paint this individually. But who would give a shit? Like, I don't care if you want to paint this person's face. You just murdered somebody. Don't be thinking about how you have a...
Yeah, she's looking at Amarantha. She's like, I could never paint her.
Well, yeah, and then like the person, she's like, I could never paint the agony in this guy's eyes as I stabbed him. And I'm like, bitch, stop being considerate. Just stop considering how you're going to paint him. Let's just focus on...
She is a compassionate person, and she conveys her feelings through art. And so she's always kind of thinking of these emotions in relation to if she could express this to others to see. Because when she was in the gallery, she's looking at it and she is feeling the emotion that the artist was trying to convey.
And I really appreciated it in that moment. I think these other moments where she discusses it, it just makes me think that she's a unique brand of
She is young.
individual.
Oh,
Like everything that she's obsessive about painting. And I'm like, you have to be focused. You murdered somebody right now. Do not be thinking about paints.
yeah, I think having these thoughts in a gallery when you're getting ready to paint, that does seem more appropriate than after you stab them.
It makes me nervous riding in a car with an artist where they're like, the red of those taillights, I'll never be able to convey that in a painting. And they just asshole the vehicle in front of them. Like, please, let's focus on what we're doing. Come on, man.
All right, so what do we have next? We have A Court of Mist and Fury, I think. And
Okay.
this is the one that everybody truly loves. Like, this book that we just got through is the groundwork to make
You never
the
gave it
next.
your rating out of 10.
Oh, yeah. I think 6 or 7.
Wow, I enjoyed this book more than you did, maybe.
It took me a very long time to get into it the way that I enjoy getting into a book. When I
Fair.
move into a first-person perspective with Feyre or with the main character, it took me a little while, which is where I'm rating it lower. But now that I am into, like, the pacing is better, I see me jumping right into the next book at that point. It just took a long time for it.
Do you think it fell shorter of your expectations because of Iron Flame and Fourth Wing?
Yes.
So that's where I think for me, it's rated a little bit higher than I would have anticipated it being because my expectations were so low,
hmm
especially considering this is supposed to be a real spicy book.
I think it...
And so I anticipated really disliking it.
Mhm.
And then there was more substance than I
Yeah.
thought there was going to be.
Yeah.
It was loaded baked potato to me. Like, this is a good potato. It was a little salty for me. So it wasn't perfect, but it was better than I expected versus it just being a regular baked potato with some butter on it. You know,
Yes.
I like the
We're
chives
gonna-
and the sour cream, the bacon bits. Guess who the bacon bits is?
Who?
Nesta. Bacon.
Well, let's get through the next 5 chapters and we can try to plan out
Oh, the first 5 chapters of the next book.
Yeah. I want to get it broken into a max of 5, I think. Is
Good, because I can
good.
retain 6.
Yeah, I realized that the last part, we did almost 10 chapters and even forgot to...
Skip 3 of them.
Yeah, I forgot to talk about them.
Guess how important they were.
Yeah, well, I think when you get so many chapters in, you are already moved past...
Yeah, she snuck into the underground hill. Let me summarize those 3 for you real quick. She shows back up, talks to Alice. We discussed that a little bit. You're like, Alice is full of shit. She sneaks down into the
He
mountain.
was right.
The adder finds her almost immediately. She goes to jail. That's it. That's all that happens in those
Yeah.
3 chapters that
Yeah.
matters.
But overall, I think smaller bites, 5 chapters, and I want to talk about it with you.
Deal. Also, I'm pretty soon we're gonna have to make it real low. You can't discuss this with your work people until after we've discussed it because you get to have a more refined idea and get to really go through it by the time we get into this. And I'm an idiot just
I really
rattling.
enjoy me reenacting these.
Then you do it after we do our podcast.
All right, sounds
Please.
good.
Because I feel like such a dummy when we go through this and you're so well formulated. You know what's going on. I'm like, how are you doing this? It's not just notes.
I love you.
I love you.
You're my bestie.
My bestie. It was a great time. We had fun. Now get out and go live your life.
No, wait. No. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate and love you all. Please follow us here, TikTok or Instagram at Shadow Daddy's Podcast.
And then go live your life.
Bye.
Bye. Get out. We're done. This was Daggers and Shadow Daddies. Now it's my time. Toodaloo. It was fun for us. I hope it was fun for you. But that's all we've got. Goodbye. Come back in a few days. We love you.